the argument that they're coming over here and stealing the jobs that we as Americans want, right? When you have
So they are.
no, they're not, because when
Yes,
these
they are.
undocumented, when
But they are.
hello, I'm speaking. I would really appreciate not to get overtalked.
You cannot talk over the host. When the host speaks, the host speaks.
Okay, Scott's the one talking to me right now, and I said I'd appreciate it if I couldn't get overtalked. So Eve, if you could show some self-restraint, please, and stop, interrupting and yelling over people, I'd really appreciate it. So when it comes to people coming over here and they are seeking asylum, because you guys seem confused on the word asylum, right? That means they are trying to come to a country that is better than their current situation. So that would be like if people from Gaza. Again, self-restraint, Eve, do you have that?
Oh, I'm going on mute. I have to cough.
Okay, thank you. So when it comes to people seeking asylum, it's because their country or whatever's going on in their current habitat is not dire, right? It's not to their situation of living. It is either very hostile, there's war going on. There's a lot of reasons why people seek asylum. In 2020, we had over 20,000 people seeking asylum, and they got placed at multiple different military bases. You had Holloman Air Force Base for one, you had Fort Hood for another, you had Fort Collins for another, and then they all got placed in places of California to New Mexico to Texas, right? They were seeking asylum. They were here documented. They did not do it, as you were saying, illegally. Now, when it comes to what did you just say, Scott?
That's fine. See, they're legal. I'm talking about the ones that just come over.
Stealing the jobs. That's what it was. So when they come over here, and let's just say that they don't have an education, right? What makes you think that they can go and they can try to get a job, like going to an interview, especially when at those interviews, you are going to need paperwork like your social security card, your birth certificate, et cetera, et cetera. They're not going for those types of jobs. What most of people who are undocumented jobs they go for, you see those people sitting outside of Home Depot willing to do a $12,000 job that someone's willing to pay $500 for their labor. You see them in the field picking the strawberries, picking the cabbage, picking the everything else, potatoes, carrots, anything else, right? For $9 an hour. And do you want to know how I know this? Because
I know how they do it.
Hold on, Scott.
Okay, go ahead.
Does the United States have an official language?
Yes, English.
That's false. The
English.
U.S.
No,
hold on.
it's English.
Hold on. Let me finish. The U.S. government says the United States do not have an official language, although English is the most widely used. So once again, you can't say they don't want to learn our language when the United States doesn't have an official language.
It's English. It's been
So you're
that
going to
way.
argue against the U.S. government?
Yes.
Yes.
So y'all are going to argue against the U.S. government?
What did they teach in school? English.
Spanish.
You can learn Spanish in school. You can learn French in school. So what is your point?
But that's the extracurricular.
That's not true in high school. In high school, you're required to take one year of a language.
No, I didn't. I told them I wasn't going to do it, and I still graduated.
How long ago did you go to high school, Scott?
In the 70s, before you were probably born.
Yeah, way before I was born. It is now
There's another
2024,
one.
right?
There's another one that happened.
I want to know why Democrats don't stick up for Americans like they stick up for these people
For
crossing
the
the borders.
immigrants.
I'm not a Democrat.
No,
So,
I'm
no,
just
You guys are
saying.
assuming we're Democrats.
So,
I'm
in
not
regards to
saying
what Scott was
anybody's a
saying,
Democrat.
he did make some good points. So Scott, I think you're just a little bit misguided, right? Like we can't be mean to people and say they need to learn English. Sometimes it's very hard for, like, if you're coming over here and you're of a certain age, it might be hard for you to learn English. I don't think that's what we should be looking at, right? Like if people are coming here and want to work hard, but Scott did bring up a good point, and also Erica, you did too. If we are hiring immigrants and below the minimum wage, right, it's going to drive down the overall cost of labor, and that's going to hurt everybody. Because it's just like if we have lots of people coming in, working below minimum wage, that's going to drive down the overall cost of labor. So it isn't really fair competition, because the people that hire them don't need to abide by the same policies, the same, regulations that somebody who would be hiring an American citizen would.
How do you know what kind of people these are that come over here? You don't know if they have plans to try to do damage to America or not. But yeah, you can let them over here, let them try to do damage.
You know what? I have a question. I have a question for all of you guys, because you're MAGA, right? Or not MAGA, sorry, Trump supporters. I don't want to assume.
I'm a proud MAGA. Thank
Love
you.
that for you. Love that.
Thank you.
Anywho, so I'm going to ask you let's go 10 simple questions, right? And how you answer them, I'll let you know what left or right where you would have stand, right?
Wait, hold on, Erica. Before you do that, right? Can we just go back to like this whole? Can we just go like this whole?
So I would like to.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let him talk. Hold on. Go ahead.
So under Trump, right? We lost 2.9 million jobs in the
bullshit.
Hold on.
No.
Listen. Let me finish, and I will give you. Let me finish, right? Just let me finish, and I will let y'all say whatever y'all want.
Oh, thank you.
That's fair.
Go ahead. It's
Okay,
up to the
so
host, not us.
no, I understand. I'm asking the host.
What?
Is it cool if I finish my point and then I'll go on mute and let them say whatever they want to say?
Sure.
Okay, right. So under Trump's economy, right, we lost 2.9 million jobs. The
Here's the
unemployment rate,
COVID. Go ahead.
That's false.
Can y'all stop
y'all just
interrupting
said y'all would let me
Let him
finish.
talk. Let him talk and finish his point, please.
The economy lost 2.9 million jobs. The unemployment rate increased by 1.6%, right?
Here's the COVID. But go ahead.
You said what?
Here's the COVID. But go ahead.
Illegal immigration also increased under Trump. Apprehension at the
No, it didn't.
southwest border rose 14.7%.
That's not true either. But go ahead.
Let
These
him
are
finish.
No,
home
Go
prices
ahead.
went up.
I'm trying to let you finish.
Home prices went up 27.5%. The unaliving rate went up 1.1 points. These were all when he became president compared to Obama's administration. So to say like Trump is doing all of these great things, let's not forget he put us in more debt than any other president we've ever had, right?
Bullshit. That's a
No,
No,
lie.
he
let me
didn't.
That's not
finish.
true either.
Let him finish.
yeah, he's making monologuing now. He cannot say, he's not proven. Do you have the paper to read off that you can put on the big screen? Because like everybody says,
So what he is saying is true,
I'm
but it's
sorry.
because of
You,
COVID.
hold on, Dana. I'm
It's because of
sorry.
COVID.
Do you have an accent? Is that an accent I hear?
yeah, I was trying to earlier to explain everybody that I'm for
Go ahead.
100% know what illegal immigration is because
Oh,
I'm
so
a
you're an
legal immigrant.
immigrant.
I'm a legal American immigrant and American
Oh.
citizen. I'm a naturalized American citizen. I went through
Okay,
the
how
whole
did you,
process.
so naturalized, right? So you were born here?
No, that. Oh my Jesus Christ! I'm not okay. I'm. Go speak down there. She doesn't. Oh my God.
I'm just curious because your boy Steven that was in here a couple minutes ago, he was like, fuck all immigrants, right? So I mean, you're an immigrant.
Yes, he's talking about illegal. See, I went into
He's talking illegal, not regular. I
Okay,
don't have a problem with regular immigrants. It's the illegal ones.
legal. Yeah,
I'm
there's,
almost done, please.
well, Democrats say there is
Okay.
no illegal immigrant. That's why.
Okay, let's let Baby Jones finish off.
So there was a report, right? It's the from analyst Andrew Van Dam, right? He did a report on Trump and his job growth by presidential term. Trump will have the worst jobs records in the modern U.S. history. It's not just the pandemic, right?
You're wrong.
So
How
You're
do you say
wrong.
it's not just the pandemic, Baby Jones? Well, why do you say that? Back up that claim.
because before the pandemic, he was already going downhill in the amount of jobs he was
No, he
losing.
wasn't. That's a lie.
No, he wasn't.
There was a slight decrease in.
Dana is
I mean, a
proving
slight
all of my
increase.
points. Thank you.
No, listen, Baby Jones, there was a
You
slight.
said there was a decrease, right? A decrease in jobs. Jobs were going downhill. That's what I just said.
You said a major one, yeah, but the
I
economy
didn't
has.
say hold on. I didn't say major. I just said they
Yeah,
were
you
going
did.
downhill.
Okay,
I did
so
not say major. I said they were going downhill.
okay. Well, in regards to the economy, it has its dips and it's never going to be completely steady. It sometimes fluctuates. That's just
Okay.
what
Can I ask y'all a question? Everyone can answer. How do y'all feel about dictators? Like, do you believe that
Oh, you're gonna
we
start
should have
that crap
dictators?
You're gonna start that crap.
Listen, it's a question. How do
Biden's
y'all
a
feel
dictator.
about having a dictator?
Did you see the whole interview?
we hate them.
Jones?
We hate them, Baby
Yes,
Jones,
I
and we're
watched the
living
whole
under a
thing. Yes, I watched the
dictatorship
whole
right
interview.
now.
Yeah,
So,
President Trump is not a
hold on.
dictator. I will know what dictator
Trump
is.
said on day one, for one day, he wants to
You
be a
didn't even, you're
dictator.
gonna say
Drill,
that's
baby,
not
That's
true.
drill.
That's exactly what he said for one day, sir.
What did he say? Who's talking? I can't hear.
But
Go
don't worry
ahead,
about
please.
who's talking.
You're a Democrat.
I'm
Don't
gonna
listen
concede
to
as
I'm
him.
not a
but no,
fucking Democrat.
hold
All
on.
right,
I've
so
already claimed multiple
Baby
times I
Jones.
hold no political
Baby
party
Jones, hold
standpoint.
Yeah,
on.
you're a liar.
Baby
Yeah, you're
Jones.
I'm not lying.
monologuing now. Can someone,
Yes,
Yes.
you
can
are.
you
Hold
speak
on.
down there?
Baby
Nobody's
Jones.
talking to me. Please wait.
Baby Jones, hold on.
Yes,
My
Yes, I'm
live.
listening.
we have new
So,
people.
did you see the whole interview? Yes or no?
Yes, I watched the whole interview.
So, why don't you in the whole part when he said, after one day, the power we give back to the people?
Yep.
You said what?
He
He's
said, after one day, he'll give all the power back to the people.
But that doesn't change that he said he was going to be a dictator on the first day of
Close the
office.
border and get more jobs. Yes,
You
I
don't
agree.
understand the conversation somebody has, do you? Do you?
Sorry, I can't see who's talking. Can you
So,
repeat
Billy
yourself?
Jones, I'm the
Look
host.
at your screen.
So, Billy Jones, he said for one day, he's going to be a dictator and close our borders and get more jobs back to our country. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think
Yes,
that having a
do it.
dictator is the way that the founding fathers wanted our
Why does that
democracy to
hurt
be,
your
correct?
He's
feelings?
not a dictator.
He's
He
not.
said for the
Why
first
does it hurt
day
Taking
he
your
was
bits
going
and
to be a
pieces trying to
dictator.
make you
That's what he
make
said.
you say.
Wait,
for
so, Billy
one
Jones,
day.
Billy Jones,
One day.
But
wait,
y'all all
hold on,
agreed that
everyone.
having a dictator is wrong.
Okay, if anybody understands context, it was clear that he was talking tongue in cheek.
Okay, so
Because what he was doing was people
hold
have
on,
mocked
Dana.
and said, well, Trump's
Hold
going to
on,
be a
Dana.
dictator. And so he was kind of trolling them when he said
Dana,
that.
hold on, please. So,
But
Baby
Baby
Jones.
Jones don't understand that.
So my question to you, Baby Jones, is: are you anti-borders?
Sorry, I was muted. What did you say?
Are you anti-borders?
Am I anti-borders?
Yeah.
No, are you asking do I think the border should be open?
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
Do y'all happen
So
to
he
be
wants
Christians?
people to come
Hold
live into
on,
his
hold
house.
on. Let me finish. Let me finish. Do y'all happen to be Christians by chance?
Here we go with
Can do
that.
it anything.
You
Yep.
can't.
It's just a yes or no question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Y'all are Christians?
Yes.
So, how do y'all know that Jesus was
All
an
right. So,
immigrant?
Baby Jones, you're
Oh,
wrong.
here we go again.
So,
See,
We're
Baby
y'all
gonna
Jones,
end
clearly
up in the
don't know the
same
Bible then.
conversation.
No, you clearly need to get out of here.
Are y'all
Clearly.
mad that I'm right and that y'all can't disprove me?
Baby Jones, you're wrong 100%.
Definitely
Can
wrong.
you back up your argument?
Yes, I can.
Okay, please
So,
do it.
there's a fine line between morals and defending our country. Your morals, I don't care about your feelings. Defend our nation.
I've said nothing about my feelings.
No, your
No,
feelings are saying, but you're a Christian. Who cares
Can I
about your
say Baby
feelings?
Jones?
Defend our
Because if y'all are Christians, then you would support the immigrants coming into the country.
No, we wouldn't.
no, we
Our
wouldn't.
first
But
thing
y'all
is to
support
protect our
Jesus, and
country.
Jesus was an immigrant.
Oh,
Here, let
jeez.
me ask y'all a better question. Do y'all think Jesus is white?
Jesus never left Jerusalem.
Do
I
y'all
want to
think
hear
How
this
can they
Jesus is
question.
white?
Hold
deliver?
on.
Hold on. Let's hear this
Good, he's
Oh, well,
question.
gone.
never mind. I wanted to hear what question he was going to ask.
If you
Yeah,
guys
we're
want to,
bad
okay, so can I just say one thing? If you guys want to win people over to like the MAGA side or the Trump side, you can't, like when somebody comes in to talk in good faith, like if everybody just shouts at somebody like that, like I think he was coming in good faith, right? Like you have to let
No,
people
he
talk.
wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
No, we
His baby
won't.
dinner.
He's trying
Okay.
to push a narrative and trying to make Republicans switch over to the Democrat side, and we're not
I
going to
mean,
do it.
but I think that like the best way to combat ideas that you don't like is with respect and letting people like say their point.
He
Like he
does
has
not want you to defend our
different
nation.
ideas. We have to be more open-minded with respect to listening to different ideas.
But Dana,
You can't
if
just shut
you're
people
not
down.
for defending this nation, you are against your own people.
Okay.
I didn't even
So
get to ask him the
what he
question I
was
wanted to ask
saying,
him.
what Baby Jones was saying was that if we have compassion, we should let immigrants in. And so we should have come up with the way to combat that would have been to come up with a logical response as to, well, like, what I would have said was, well, what we don't have all the resources right now to help the whole world. Like compassion, we have to pick and choose who we have compassion for. We can't like literally the U.S. of A. cannot sustain helping everybody out.
We have to
I
end
think he's
people talk. The same thing where they say, "Are you a Christian?" That has nothing to do with it, whether we're a Christian or not. We want our country protected. We want our kids safe. We don't want somebody that's a terrorist coming over here and trying to kill us.
Okay,
Can
but
I
there are
say something really
also
quick?
a lot of non-helpful stereotypes about immigrants. Like,
We have
right?
to vent them. We have to vent the people that are the good people. They have to come
We
in
should
legal
deport them
ways,
all.
and they're not
Deport
coming
them
in a
all.
legal way.
Okay. I mean, I'm
Can I
just
say
No, the
saying.
something?
real reason the Democrats want these immigrants to come over here is because they can't tell us lies anymore for us to believe them, and they want to push us out the back door and put these immigrants into our place. That's what they really want to do.
Well, I agree with him that we should have compassion for all fellow humans, but that does.
So I would to a point, but not when we have middle-aged military men and possible terrorists rolling through daily.
Right, so real quickly, right, so from me to you, if you're so compassionate of these illegal aliens coming to our country, you want to take one into your house and put them in your home?
Okay, so what I would say is that I do believe we need to have some kind of.
Would you do it?
I do try to help. I live in Utah, and we help out. We welcome in. We are a red state, and we welcome in refugees. And I do a lot of work within my church to help out refugees. Yes, I do. And I think it's important that if you don't want people to think of Trump supporters as being like these selfish, inhumane people, that you actually have to act humane. You can't just be like, oh, it's all about me. It's all about me. Now, there's a
Right,
Can I
common
respond?
sense.
Can I
It
respond
is
to that,
all
Dana?
about me when it comes to my home and my family.
I've had enough
Right.
time in today's situation. We got to be about ourselves because it's ourselves. So here's the
Exactly.
thing about it that people
We have
understand.
a right to defend ourselves.
Nobody's coming to help us.
The last guy that came across, if you notice, for one, wasn't even Mexican. Two, he insulted the reporter, and I don't know if you guys caught him clearly stating, "You guys will know who I am very soon." And this guy was released over 15 years ago for making a threat toward America, who was on a terrorist watch list. So
We
explain
have
it.
feedback, mister.
But then we have to make this
True.
difference again. Dana, you just said refugee. So refugee, asylum seeker. These are totally different. What is a refugee? A refugee is somebody if their country is if there's a war in the country, like Ukraine. Then you have asylum seeker. What we have right now coming through the border are none of it. Because if they
An
would be asylum
invasion.
seeker, they would go to the port of entry in the seek asylum on the next safe country.
But
Not
Right.
3,000 miles away going to America in the seek asylum.
they were also flown and bussed in.
We have to make this distinction, and that's why I'm always get so passionate about, because I hear all this like illegal. We say illegal immigration. Illegal immigration. We're not talking about refugees. That there is some kind of case, like when there's a disaster or there's a war. We're not talking about asylum seeker who are running away because they probably get killed or what. I'm sorry, they probably get well, they are
Decide
worried
the
about their
label.
life. Yeah, you can. The word is already in TikTok. They already put on the algorithm the UNAL. So we have to say like I don't know what we're gonna say now, but that's what I'm talking about. See, I'm a legal immigrant. Okay, visa coming in. Go and request the fill out the paperwork for green card. Got my green card. Went to work. I didn't have one penny for the whole 30 years I'm in the United States now that I had one penny paid by me through anything from government. No government assistance at all. I work hard for everything. I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to help my community. I'm proud to fill up the food banks under COVID. Well, we went shopping. We brought so much stuff in. I help my neighbors. I help kids. I help whatever. But it doesn't mean that I'm okay with people from all over the world, okay, to come here and taking all our, and don't say it doesn't cost us nothing. The thing about, they paying taxes. Listen, I looked it all up. Yes, there are some of them that pay taxes, but it does not outpace the money we pay on illegal immigration as taxpayers. It doesn't outpace the economic, like Dana, you said it earlier, the economic problems we have by the low pay and all that stuff. So that's what I wanted to say. I'm going back on mute, but Dana, I'm not a bad person. I'm so tired of people having this arrogance coming and saying, you all against immigration and this is a stolen land and all this kind of stuff. I just can't hear it anymore. Sorry.
No, I don't think you're a bad person, but we have to admit that person who Stephen, I think was his name, like he was saying some pretty outrageous stuff, right? Like,
yes, I agree. And we have the lights out, and I fully agree. You already said that, but I fully agree. But we just, but I'm gonna say when we talk now, and you talk about refugees, and you talk about putting them in your home, let's just talk about how bad it is right now that we have people from all over the world just walking into the country.
If it wasn't bad, you wouldn't have. It's actually 27 states now. They're helping Texas. If it wasn't that bad, we wouldn't have them coming over and trying to help out Texas.
Hey,
That's
Trevor.
how bad it is.
Trevor, I thought I would update you. It is actually 32 states now.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yep, that's 32 states that have now offered aid to Texas.
What I hope, this is my hope, is that those 32 states that are helping out Texas take Biden off every one of those states.
I'll tell you what,
I hope.
helping out Texas, and I live in Iowa, so we were one of the first states to get Trump in the polls, and under 35 minutes, 99 out of 100 counties instantly.
Yeah, I don't want Biden I don't want to do what they do to President Trump. I want him to stay on the ballot. I want people who want to vote for him, because I always say, it is a free elections. That's American way. We need to all vote. And I hope it all works out that we can actually vote for each person we want to, because the consequences we have seen the last 3 or 4 years, the consequences on an election. So let's hope America wakes up, and I don't have to prove how good I was my life under President Trump, and then how bad my life is under Biden. So I don't think I have to prove who was better as a president.
But we also got to understand, when Trump takes office, the Democratic Party is leaving quite a shit show for him to, and it just ain't going to be an overnight process.
Oh yeah, I believe he can do it though.
Oh, me too.
He's quite. I'll tell you what, he's been a great man most of his life, and they pick out nits and ticks of things that he's done. But he's helped out when 9/11 happened. He sent over like 200 of his workforce to help out 9/11.
Well, here's the
He's helped people.
if Trump was guilty of the so-called 92 indictments, why weren't they going after him before he was president? Make that make sense. There you go.
Yeah, true.
Makes perfect sense.
How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Well, I just wanted to touch on the immigration things. That's what I've heard most everybody talk about. I believe that there is a such thing as compassion, but compassion comes with doing things the right way, and most of these folks aren't. And if most of these folks were truly looking for a better way of life, they would come and do it the right way instead of trying to come in here and just basically giving America the middle finger, giving the citizens the middle finger by saying, because you come here illegally, you're already breaking the law. The first act you do is break the law, and that's not a good way to start a friendship, a relationship, whatever you want to call it. And my biggest thing is how many of those folks have come across this border that we don't know about, that have absolute ill will for this country, and they've had no interaction with law enforcement, and they're just out in this country, out in the wind somewhere, waiting for their opportunity or waiting to be given the order to do something crazy. And here we are ill prepared because we don't know they're here. We don't know who they are. and we don't know what their intentions are. I stand with Texas. It's about time somebody stood up and said, enough is enough. If you want to come here, fine, do it the right way, but you're not going to be doing it the wrong way. You're not going to be bringing, drugs in here. You're not going to be, bringing children and hurting children. You're not going to be trafficking and moving, people, everywhere. And just, Texas. I stand with Texas. My state sent them help. And I just hope and pray that Governor Abbott and all of them continue to stand strong, because somebody has to lead by example. Somebody has to finally stand up and say enough is enough. This problem has to be addressed. It has to be addressed now.
Hey, Southern, I got a question for you, just because, I'm guessing you're down in the South, so I'll see if you recognize it. I've been paying attention, and I've been kind of watching what's going on down at the border. For everyone in the box, this is just me. What have you been noticing crossing over? Me personally, I haven't seen families. I've seen single, middle-aged military men.
Yep, that's what I've seen.
Well, I'm a few states over from Texas, but you're right. I am in the South. I'm over here in Georgia. But all the newscasts and stuff that I've seen, the photos taken by people who have actually went to the border, I'm seeing the same thing you are, Mister. I'm seeing, military age men. I'm not seeing women. I'm not seeing children. I'm seeing folks that, if called upon, so to speak, or given an order, they would be within an age range typically determined to be physically fit enough to engage in violent type activities, if you will.
Right,
Sleeper cells.
Sleeper
cell, that's basically what you're talking about.
Yeah, you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. See, I wouldn't have a problem if I was seeing mother, children, fathers, big groups of families coming over. But lately, all I've seen is just single middle-aged military men. And here's my problem with it. Even if they were coming in illegally seeking asylum, if I were to see, truly, honestly, it was a family, that would be different. But we're not. We're seeing single-aged military mid-grade trained men.
That's occurred to me too. So we're allowing these military-aged males to come across our border. We're also letting the cartels, who have a long history of dealing in weapons and stuff. So what's to say there's not a thought process or a partnership, so to speak, between these individuals coming over and then the cartels doing what they do best, smuggling, equipment or whatever you want to call it, along with people. And at some point, this stuff is being warehoused somewhere, and then all of a sudden you've got everything you need. You've got people that you don't know about here. You got people that you don't know what their intentions are, and then the folks who have ill intentions are advised about where and when to go and acquire certain equipment, as it were.
Well, they're already, the cartel is already in all 50 states. You can already find it everywhere you look.
Oh, yeah.
It's already been reported.
Have you guys all paid attention to what the biggest opioid death conflict is right now? If you think about it, since this open border thing started, I'm pretty sure, I think a few of us know, the number, and I know people say it was made here in America, of fentanyl overdoses has been, just in the past 2 years. Tons.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as this border was open, fentanyl just poured in.
About 100,000.
I still wonder why people use that stuff.
The thing about it is, these Democrats are sticking up for these immigrants or whatever coming over the border and stuff. What are they gonna do when some of these immigrants get together and they do some sort of terrorist act to us and do damage to us? And then what's gonna happen? They're gonna say, "Oh, we shouldn't have done our borders better."
No, they're gonna find a way to blame Trump.
Because if they're coming over here, there's a reason. I mean, they're either coming over here, they want someplace to live, or they want a free handout, or they want to do damage to us.
Well, I don't know how much of this. I was trying to look it up. Did you guys hear what they're doing at the lines over there at the border now here lately?
What part of the border?
Am I thinking, is it down in the Texas border area? There was immigrants lining up, going through lines that's getting a $3,000 card for spending, a free phone, healthcare, and a couple other things.
And they give them a ride to anywhere they want to go.
I've heard that. I haven't personally done any research to validate that, but it absolutely would not surprise me at all if that was happening.
Well,
And then you would have to have
the
an address on
Democrats
it,
want
though.
these new immigrants to come over here, so they have somebody to vote for them now, because they're losing people to actually vote for them, because the only way they can get actual votes is to cheat now.
Thank you, Jay, for saying that, because I just brought that up last night in Megas Live. During the 2020 election, there was people who were unregistered, didn't live in the same state, and dead people whose votes were counted. What makes you think they're not going to have all these bodies pouring over and they just get them in the vote? At 2020, they could get dead people to vote. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Well, I was in a live the other night, and at my house personally, I received, I believe, 2, if not 3, absentee ballots. Now, I never requested an absentee ballot because I am perfectly capable of going up to my local polling place and voting. But I had 2, maybe 3 absentee ballots come to my house, and I was alive, and somebody made the statement they received the same thing. And this guy was, well, that was sending you information so that you could request an absentee ballot. If you filled that out and sent it back, it's not like you'd be voting absentee. And I'm thinking, it said absentee ballot at the top of the piece of mail I received, and I went and looked up what a absentee ballot would look like for my state, and it was the exact same thing that I received. And
What happened?
so you couldn't tell me that there wasn't something crazy going on with that. Along with the multiple nursing homes where people received absentee ballots, and the families were like, my grandmother or whoever, she's not in her right mind to be requesting anything or to be making, a decision on who to vote for. And that happened in numerous places with the nursing home stuff and absentee ballots. So this guy, he was an absolute, far left Democrat. And anytime somebody tried to, give him, make a point, he didn't want to hear anything about it. He was like, you're wrong, and you couldn't talk to the guy. You could clearly tell that he had no interest in learning anything or any interest in, hearing someone else's point of view or considering that they might be right about something.
So the only suggestion I have that I would like to have an amendment, and I know I'm not a person, I like the Constitution and I hate a lot of amendments in there, they were added, but one, and I want to see what you guys think. So, because we all know that the elections are done by the states, that the states can determine how they want to do the elections. I would be okay for local, but when it comes to the presidential, Senate, and representative, I wish that there would be all 50 states the same. Okay, that would be a government, a federal election, right? That there would be no separate. Everybody has to go to a national holiday. I don't understand.
I agree.
Holidays for everything else, but not for our voting, for our election. So a holiday definitely, and then paper ballots only.
Also, to add to that, is that they have some sort of military or something like that at these polling stations to keep an eye on these people so they don't try to sabotage our voting. Because in Detroit, there's video of it where they're putting up cardboard, and then in March state they said it flooded, and then it didn't flood. There was video footage, and they put the trunks out. And this is ridiculous. They should have some sort of military or cops there to make sure that they don't have this kind of problem ever again. That's ridiculous.
The whole flooding thing happened up here in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where that happened at, where they claimed something was flooding, and all it was like a toilet was overflowing, and they sent everybody home, and all of a sudden they're showing video of people pulling boxes, and all of a sudden ballots are starting to be counted again in a room where you don't have your poll watchers and stuff like that. And I tried to point out too to that guy that there's been a study that shows that some of the voting machines, if they're connected to Wi-Fi, can then be manipulated from an outside source, and he didn't want to hear that either. And when I couldn't immediately remember what university did a study, he automatically went on the defensive and said, "Well, how you gonna come on here and tell somebody that a study was done if you can't quote what university did?" And I told him, I said, "Well, that's a very simple answer. I haven't thought about that voting machine story in probably 3 years. So I don't know anybody that right off the top of their head, unless they look at that type of stuff, specifically on a daily basis, can necessarily remember exactly what university it was." And luckily, there was a young lady in the live that looked it up real quick and quoted it. And he goes, "Oh, well, is that even a reputable university?" And I'm like, reputable or not, they took the time to do a study and found it can be done.
And he obviously was skeptical about it because I'm sure he wasn't for the guy who had the fucked up votes.
Like I said before, when I talk about military being there, the voting stations, things like that, and if they see somebody trying to pull a fast one, like I seen one woman, she pulled out the SIM card and then stuck it in her back pocket as she was sitting on the table. And then as soon as they see anybody like that doing something like that, they should pick them up automatically and arrest them and put them in jail. Because that's a crime.
I suggested they put the National Guard out on election day, everywhere, at every location.
And I'm glad you guys are talking about that. I don't, and what Southern is talking about, I don't know if you guys seen the recent interview. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's one of the guys that worked on let's say, network security systems of some type he was involved in indulging and working with some security system that was for the electronic votes with the machines. And he goes on to talk about how somebody could absolutely from home sit there and if they knew what they were doing, log into back to that database and mess with the vote.
Okay,
My thing is that anybody that's against having full security, whether it's the National Guard or the whatever, it's because they know that they're voting with the crooks.
Yeah.
Careful what we say about the what we're talking about here. Because, remember, go into deep with that stuff.
We haven't mentioned anything.
What I'm talking about is actually,
like the machines and stuff.
Live, so it's not like some
Okay. I'm just worried about. I don't want him to get banned.
No, this is factual information. If I could remember the guy's name, I'd tell you. But they did an interview with one of the guys who was involved with the machine validating ballot process system in the vote in 2020.
Yeah, but Jay, I wanted to clarify. No, I don't want this like the federal government. What I'm saying is like I want let's say Congress can make a bill, right? Just a bill that all states have the same rules. Doesn't make sense. Like on the federal, the same rules that nobody can change. All 50 states have to go the same process on a federal election. That's kind of like what I mean. Not really the federal government. I'm not liking that.
So let me ask you something about that. Do you think that our current sitting Congress is going to do something to help us out like that? They're going to laugh. They are going to laugh in our faces if we brought something to the table like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Why would they ever give us more security when that will impede on their ability to abuse the system? Now, I think this election, I don't think that they're going to be able to play games because now we're onto them and now everyone is watching. And also, Twitter has been completely and enthusiastically dismantled by Elon Musk. And we saw what happened with them. The FBI colluded with Twitter and other social media platforms to suppress millions and millions of people's voices talking about the Hunter Biden laptop. Yep. They did not want anyone writing about that. They would yank your account or they would wipe your entire wall. Now that's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen again because now that Elon got involved, he's like a genius. You know what I'm saying? He figured it out really fast too of what happened.
I think
what the Democrats are going to do this time is they're flooding the illegals in, and they're going to try to turn them into voters, and that will make it legal what they're doing. It'll make the amount of votes that they have legal. Now, bringing all these people in, have you guys heard of the CBP app, the Border Patrol app? That literally streamlines the process for these people to just get flooded right in. They come in, they say, hey, I want asylum. My name's, Jose Pablo. And they walk, even the ones that go through the port of entry. I'm sure you've heard of Mayorkas. They have made it so easy for these people to come in here, whether they come through a fence or whether they come through the port of entry. They've intentionally streamlined it so that they can flow in. I mean, anyone with half of a brain can tell that if Joe Biden is suing a state for defending themselves, there's obviously something wrong with this picture. I yield back.
I agree with you.
Well, Jay, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Jay, with what you mentioned, what you think about it, it was all proven that the FBI is corrupt already, correct?
Correct.
And so on your statement, Biden is threatening to sue and go after these states who is backing up Texas and fighting so hard to allow FBI and Border Patrol to be secure and open the border back up. You're right. So play this out and just go bear with me here as I say this. FBI is already corrupt, correct?
Yes.
GOP is corrupt, correct? Border Patrol works for the FBI and the GOP, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, fighting so hard to give them the power to open back up the border and people across. I mean, like you said, it don't.
Sounds like you're in a fish tank. Or somebody sounds like they're in a fish tank. There we go. I think it was CMB.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, if you think about it,
what exactly does it sound like?
It all makes sense, Jay. If you honestly think about it, what you're saying is actually don't take a scientist to take a look and realize put 3 together.
But apparently it's an issue for a good portion of this country. They're having a hard time understanding that 3 and 3 equals 6. They don't want to believe it. They think, oh, we don't need a wall. We don't need a wall. Well, what if you live next to a prison? You think you need a wall? Would you be against walls if you live next to a prison full of grapers? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
No wall.
Yeah, anybody that doesn't agree with security for the voting, they're dirty. I don't care who they are or what they are. If they're against it, it's because they're dirty.
That's a very important time, and there should be some sort of security.
And Trevor, I think what we need to do for everyone here, we need to actually get out there and start speaking to the younger crowd, the younger youth, and actually letting them see what's really going on. Don't let them get fed by the media, democracy, superstars, Hollywood stars, music stars.
The younger crowd feeds off of TikTok. They don't watch the news. They wear tight pants.
Well, I don't watch the news because most of it's corrupt, but I think what we need to do is stretch out to the younger youth. They are going to be the determined outcome of this election.
I'm sure that they see a lot of what we see on TikTok.
There's a lot of them go to these schools that are very corrupt. That most of the teachers are Democrats, and they try to teach them stuff and try to brainwash them to think the way they do. And then they come home to their parents and they have this idea that everything's fine and all this crap.
Oh, real quick, I'm going to clarify Clarissa.
Right.
New York, the reason why the judge in New York would not let Trump's lawyer show the evidence of that DNA testing sequence of that false allegation of the SA is because then it would completely discredit their whole battle situation because it would prove them innocent, and they don't want that.
Yeah, I know. Yep. They're corrupt.
So he's going to have to appeal it, right?
Yeah.
So
you're talking about
they know this. They're just what? Talking about what?
If they can't let
supposedly.
If they can't let their evidence come out and prove on themselves, shouldn't they be able to throw that out? Because they should be able to show their side of it.
Well, see,
right, but when you have the system working against you, it's not in your favor.
In a normal circumstance, that should be that way.
If they can't abide by it, then I would. If I was Trump, I'd tell him, fine. If you can't let me show my evidence, I'm not going to abide by what your judgment is.
He's going
to appeal. Say whatever you want.
And that's what they want, though. They want him to do something stupid like
That's exactly what they want, and even the judge is ready for that. Because that lady, supposedly that whole thing happened. Supposedly the dress that she still had and everything wasn't even made when the incident happened.
Probably not.
They looked up the year that dress was made, and it was like 3 or 4 years after that whole incident. So figure that out.
Exactly right.
I can't hear it.
So the judge in the case did not let him present his evidence in court. So the judge said, "You can't show your evidence in my courtroom."
Because I was just talking to Mega about this last night. He knows where I'm going. You ready? I'm going to state one thing, and it's going to blow this whole case of the SA against Trump wide open. You ready?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Even before Trump was president, he was well known, quite famous, always had a paparazzi around him, always had security, always had a crowd, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
But he goes into a clothing store where nobody is in, and supposedly SA's this woman up against the wall for one. But he's constantly surrounded by people. Paparazzi knew where he was all the time. He constantly had security about him. And why would he go into a clothing store when him and his wife, they get all their clothing from another foreign state? They don't even shop here in the United States for their clothing.
I mean, that doesn't blow it out of the water, but it's a good theory.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying
not as much as the dress that she was wearing. The dress that she was wearing wasn't 3 years after what the date of it when it supposedly happened. That right there is a seal of approval.
Especially in chat, even the Dems that are in here if they're listening. If you don't think Trump is for us Americans, well, here's the thing I'm about to tell you. Look how many blows and arrows and bullets and punches this man is taking, and he's still fighting for us. Still fighting to get up there and protect us. But he doesn't care about us. I don't know any person in general that'll take as many blows as that man does and not still want to progress, to take care of America.
He's appealing. He's appealing it already, and I don't think that you're ever going to see any money. So I'm not worried about that case at all. So he's going to appeal it probably in a different court, anyway, in a different state. So
and also, more better, that case is a civil case, not a criminal case.
That's absolutely correct. It's just distraction. That's what I'm telling you all. But I wanted to say something real quick, but because I'm listening to you all about the Texas thing. Here's what I think it is. So I've been reading it up. So the court from the Texas case is still at the Fifth Circuit, okay, that Abbott filed. Article 4, Section 4, saying that the government did not protect the states from invasion. So therefore, Abbott says, I'm going to invoke Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. So you can read it up. I have the Constitution here. And that what it says is that they have the right to defend themselves if you read it, and that's why and it's on the Fifth Circuit. So whatever that Supreme Court did was not a case. Number one, there's not case. You cannot find a case. Okay, it was a so here what's happened. The Fifth Circuit Court already had Abbott's case. Okay, Biden administration did not want to wait for the case to be done. Decided to go to the Supreme Court and file an emergency injunction. And all the Supreme Court did was write like 2 sentences, not even an opinion, and just saying that the Border Patrol has the right to go and cut the wires. Nothing else. Nothing that the Texas can do. Nothing that they have to let them in. Now, as of today, not one Border Patrol agent went and cut the wires. The Border Patrol agent union says somebody is, who is that? Okay.
Disney, whoever Disney is.
Oh, okay. And as of now, nothing happened there. Second, the Border Patrol agent saying they're not even interested. They're not going in and doing it anyways. The union already said that. So I don't know what is going to be happening. Hopefully the Fifth Circuit Court, with all that stuff going on, takes the case and get it done fast enough. And then if Texas would lose against the case, but I hope not, because it is constitutional. But if the Fifth Circuit Court does against the Texas, then Texas can go ahead and file an appeal and can send it up to the federal Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court has to take it on, and then they're going to be an opinion, and then I hope that they do the right thing. So that's.
So can I say something about the whole Supreme Court thing? So the reason why Biden brought it to the
They don't have
Supreme
any more
Court is
information about
because-
that. So
Can I just finish what I was saying? So the reason why they pushed it to the Supreme Court is because they know technically by law they have jurisdiction because they are on the federal level. Now, after the fact, it wasn't disputed in the Supreme Court that Joe is derelicting his duty in Texas of securing our border.
Correct.
So the Supreme Court only ruled on Joe's accusation of we have the final say, which technically they do, but because he's derelicting it, he hasn't been brought to court for derelicting it. That's why it went in his favor. Now Texas, they're not gonna let him come in there and cut wire. It's gonna turn into a conflict, I think, if they even attempt to go in there. And no one takes Joe seriously. Nobody is threatened by Joe. He couldn't insult a 5-year-old.
Well, I have a question for the group if everybody's okay with it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's everybody's opinion on what do we think the first step needs to be to get this country back to where it needs to be, governed, for the people, by the people.
Close the border.
Close the border.
I agree.
Yeah,
Close it.
And make Trump our president.
Close it completely until we get back on our feet.
Yep, I agree.
exactly. Just completely stop anybody coming in from anywhere. I don't care if it's the border or if it's an airplane or whatever. No one for now.
You guys heard about that guy
things out.
Turan? You guys heard about that guy Turan that came in? Guess who signed his visa to come over here?
The butcher of Taiwan.
Yeah, guess who signed his visa to come here?
Biden.
The Biden administration.
Well, you know what
Yeah,
I found.
because,
insane?
Why would they
wouldn't
do
doubt
something
it.
like that? Why would they do something like that?
I just want to say
Because that
something.
man does not like America.
I just want to say something, what the liberals don't understand and the Democrats don't understand is, I live in New York now, but I'm from the Republic of Texas. I was born there. I was raised there. And what people don't understand is, one, you don't fuck with Texas. You fuck with Texas, that's basically fuck around and find out right there. And two, it's not just Texas, but my home state's got 25 other states who are supporting them. And I hate to say this, we are on the brink of a second CW.
Yeah, I believe that.
If the
What drives me-
CW, I don't want that to.
What drives me crazy is the fact that is that the current administration is letting all these folks come in here, but we're not even taking care of the folks who voluntarily put their life on the line for the freedom that we have in this country. We have veterans that are denied health care, that are homeless, and we're letting people come into this country, and we're not even taking care of our own first. I need somebody trying to help me make sense of that, because it doesn't make sense to me.
All right, well, I got a quick question for Disney, since you said you live in New York, right?
No.
Yes, I live in New York.
Okay, so
Upstate New York.
I currently came across an article, and I want to know if you know much about it since you live there. I've been reading and I've been hearing there's certain buildings in different cities in New York where there's been tons of illegal immigrants that have come over, and they are posting about all the help and everything else they're getting. And it's I guess like what some town 2-3 blocks over, you got a bunch of homeless that aren't even getting anything. How much of that is true?
Well, you see, I live, I did hear about that. I live in upstate New York. I live about 4 hours away from the city. So that is true. That is true. That the homeless crisis, our governor is bragging about helping all these illegals out. When here in my small little country town, we have a good chunk of our population are homeless, and a good chunk of those homeless people are United States veterans. And our governor is bragging about helping the illegals out, but not the homeless veterans in my town. That is true.
Okay.
And another thing, our governor.
He ain't bragging right now. He ain't bragging right now. He's crying. He got a taste.
No,
he literally got a taste.
Hold on. Our governor is a she.
Well, whatever, whoever, doesn't matter. They are literally terrified. They've only gotten a taste of immigration. Imagine what's coming.
And Chicago, as far as Chicago goes,
flags talking about, they're using up all our resources. And guess what? You've only gotten a drop on your tongue.
Yeah, we love our Kentucky AG. We had 2 planes that came in here last year. Our AG just stopped that whole thing. They fly like 3-4 in the morning, and in Kentucky, our AG.
Yep.
I don't think so. And that's what I'm saying. We are like, Kentucky, nah, we're not messing with that stuff. We help Texas.
They had some going to Florida too.
We're gonna help Texas the 3rd time.
What?
I'm sorry.
Well, what the liberals don't understand is like I said before, we're on the brink of a second CW. If that happens, it's not.
You keep cutting out. I don't know. Your signal must be weak.
I'm gonna come back. My phone's acting up. Hold on. It's fucking frozen. Close out. I'll be back, host.
All right.
So I think that the states, all 50 states, have to go and have to take the power back again. And I don't think it's going to be, we have to have a CW, but if the states take their power back again from the federal government, because the states were the one, as far as I understood the Constitution and the history, that it was the states who created the government.
the problem is that the states.
Go ahead.
He's got no signal.
States that are all blue, they support that. The states that are all blue, they support that individual that's running things.
And see, Eve, what people don't realize is we never truly have to take the power back from the government. They worked for us. We've had the power the whole time. They have just done a really good job of blindsiding us Americans.
Oh no, all 3 little agencies, but trust me, that federal government is running everything right now.
Yeah, but originally they don't. They work for us. We don't work for them, and that's what people have lost and forgotten about.
Exactly.
It's kind of funny because back in 2021, I posted a status on Facebook that said, Joe Biden straight up lied to you. And here we are in 2024, and people are waking up and realizing that he is a liar. He is a liar. If anyone that's in this live is listening and you're a Democrat or liberal, if you think that this man is, if you think Joe Biden is your savior, you are in for a long, sad surprise. And I'm telling you, if Joe gets in this election, the Democrats are going to be crying for a Republican in 28. I'm telling you, they'll go so far left that they won't know where they fell off.
Well, if you want to know the honest truth, Jay, if Biden gets back in office, we won't have to worry about none of us will be alive long enough till the 28. I can tell you that. I
wouldn't say stuff like that. But right before this 2020 election even started, I was stocking up on pews. All right, and people thought that you guys are crazy buying all that stuff. Now it kind of makes sense why people were buying it up.
See, I'm
Pew stores would only limit you to 50, 100 rounds per purchase.
Real quick, Kenny, what I'm afraid of, guys, is
I did mine in '93.
I don't really want it to happen.
Yeah.
I'm afraid we're going to have another 9/11, and I really hope we don't. But something just I got.
Well,
to
did you see that? Did you see the FBI not court documents, but the documents that sent to like Chuck Schumer and all the members of Congress?
All the other corrupt people.
Well, no, because this they're like saying, if you keep the border open, there is a internal threat that is going to be very seismic. That will be like.
That means they already know. They already know.
Well, I mean, it's kind of obvious because
anything to do with FBI or Chuck Schumer is corrupt. Those two things are corrupt by themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Schumer's been in way too long. He's a dinosaur. And, I'm going to quote Marjorie Taylor Greene. These people in the Senate and the House and Congress or whatever, they have been in there too long. They've been there for way too long. And they are only supporting government programs that they want to support, that support their agenda, that has no end. There's no end in sight. So
I think anything, they're supporting their paychecks because, with
definitely. They
oh,
definitely
100%.
are. There's no denying that.
I mean, that's both
For someone who
Republicans.
makes hundreds,
That's both Republicans.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. But I think our biggest issue is with the corruption. That and Trump, he doesn't just label Democrats or liberals. He knows that there's dirt on his side too. Not him, but he knows that that's in his party too. And the reason why people love him so much is because when the power was being transitioned from Obama to Trump, he made that speech and he said, I'm not taking the power, I'm transferring it back to the people. And that's when people started to really want to follow him in that moment on television.
Well, I think it's
exactly right.
pretty important to know that, especially during this election year, it's pretty apparent that Joe Biden is probably one of the most unelectable presidents in U.S. history. Compared
Even
with
his own people don't want him.
No, did you see the recent research poll that came out today? Or
No, I haven't.
33% approval rating.
Yeah, and what's Trump at?
Yeah, but the thing is,
Does anyone?
I think Trump has to pick a very strong vice presidential candidate, or a good VP for him to counteract some of what my base is kind of distraught about, which is his ego.
I think it's either going to be Kristi Noem or Vivek. I think he's better off with Vivek.
I think Vivek too.
I think you're wrong about that because if you notice, Major Taylor Greene has been with him.
No, it's
Why is he hanging around with him?
no, it's Elise Stefanik. She's one of the representatives from New York.
Well, Major Taylor Greene was with him when he stopped in one of the.
But these are all people that support him.
Yeah,
but
All I'm
Major
saying
Taylor
is-
Greene's been hanging around with him lately.
Well,
Right.
so the thing that with Vivek and everything is that Vivek can be a very he appeals to moderates and independents, which is kind of like with me because I
Honestly, though, Tanner, but in all honesty, I think that Trump would do a lot better if we had a woman for his VP.
Hey, Jay, real quick, Mega. I did look up the percentage back for you on Trump. Trump's percentage approval rating right now is at 49.4%.
Yeah, no surprise there.
And he had that.
I think it's higher than that.
He had that.
It might be, but I just checked as of 6 hours ago during the last reported update poll.
I think Biden's approval rating is actually lower than 33%.
It might be.
Well, because the sample they did was 1,000 registered voters, so they didn't use likely voters. So, in all honesty, probably it's probably down to 29.
I think it might be more than that. I think it's more like, well, I can't actually say it because you might get, I don't know, kicked out or something. I think it's more like 28%.
I know it's
With all the
early
bad
right
things
now,
he's
but
done.
again, I honestly feel Trump is president. He won this. That's just me, though.
Well, all the polling indicates that Trump is leading. Oh, with RFK Jr., he's leading Biden by 7 points. So that's better than what Biden did back in 2020, which he was leading Trump with 4 points. So, I mean, if anything, that kind of just tells you he has a strong connection with people, and it's going to turn out badly for Biden if these polls continue.
And,
Is there
I'm
any
not for the
opposition in this
Democratic
panel?
Party, just so they can know. For the ones who are in the chat who are joining, who are liberals or Dems, you didn't leave the Democratic Party. They left you guys. That's all I got to say about it.
This guy is a simp. If you've ever this dude is literally the definition of a simp for Joe Biden.
He is.
Well, anybody who voted for Biden, especially your young people, I tell this to everybody: you just ruined all your future. That's all I can tell you.
Well, and another thing is when Biden's unpopular with my age group and my generation. Nobody wants to vote for him. But another thing is my age group doesn't want to vote for Trump either, so they're voting third party. So they're voting for Cornel West and Jill Stein and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Which, by the way, if Trump is disqualified and it's Haley versus Biden, I will vote for RFK Jr.
That's going to happen. And when you say, this is a problem with young people, you have to understand how voting works. If you vote for just somebody else that you feel like, or that's a very low person, you are actually taking votes away. You know what I mean? It's like you're voting for nothing. You might as well don't vote. That's what I'm saying.
I'll disagree with that because the one thing that is kind of, well, I mean, my generation's filled with degenerates. But I think it's important to, have principles and stand by the policies that you agree with. And if a candidate matches those policies, I think you should be able to vote for that. But I mean, yes. And I agree that it is a waste vote because it's you know that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is not going to win. Jill Stein's not going to win or Cornel West, but you're voting based on principle, so I can respect that.
And you definitely know Nikki Haley ain't going to take it.
Everybody has to respect any flag that has to do with this country, and people died for that flag too. So I don't understand why people all of a sudden get butthurt.
Well, I don't like the Confederate flag for many reasons, but I respect. I'm not going to tell you how to you can't fly that flag. No, I'm not
You
going to say
know,
that.
yeah,
But
people died. There were family, there's still family in this country that had people who fought and died for that flag. So I really don't understand why people get butthurt about flags. It makes no sense.
And Eve, this is how I look at it. If you're going to stomp on the American flag, you're going to burn the American flag. Take your ass out of this country, go somewhere else, get gone.
Well, you should have been going to jail for that, in my opinion, honestly.
Yeah, but see, the problem is
Honestly, over
our
there,
First Amendment gives
the
you.
only flag that I have a problem with is the LGBTQ flag.
Yeah, it's all over the place, and nobody is complaining about this because I'm with you, host, because I think it's really, it should, if there would be a difference between flying the American flag and having that rainbow flag, I want that American flag up. But in the same time, people can roll up themselves in the United States in those flags, in those rainbow flags. I really don't care, but just don't make me accept it. That's what
Like, honestly, like they say that burning a flag is okay and is freedom of speech and all that nonsense. But why would they allow the LGBTQ flag to be flown higher than the American flag above the White House?
And here's the thing, host. I'm going to state this real quick because, my wife is bi, so she's part of the community. But here's the funny thing. We talk about this. That rainbow flag that was created, that people are saying they created, it has always been around. It was actually the true definition of that flag was actually a promise of Jesus coming back and showing loved ones to his people. That's the true definition behind that rainbow flag.
That's fine. You can have it. I mean, I'm seriously. I really
I
don't
know,
care.
and I agree. They can have it. The problem is my wife even agrees, and she's part of the community. This is going on way too far. It's being pushed too much, and it's just destroying everything. So
yeah.
well, it's like we're in a culture war right now between I would say extremes.
You're absolutely correct, Hannah. We are in a culture war. Yeah.
We have the extreme left and the extreme right. The extreme left is probably the worst thing to come out of. I think the extreme left became very popular after 2012, or around that's when everything started going to shit. So around 2012 is when the extreme left started showing their true colors and everything, and then the extreme right just popped up.
But when you say extreme right,
Johnny, real quick, I don't mean to cut you guys off, but it was satire, my guy. I wasn't being for real. I was just bullshitting.
but extreme. When you say, I understand extreme left because we had the summer of 2020 and all that. But when you say extreme right, please explain to me when an extreme right went and looted and burned down cities. And
I'm not saying they burned down cities or anything, because the extreme right is more or less like the how do I put this? Well, the German supporters, the Stash supporters.
The what? Hold on a second. Okay, now please explain this. I'm listening.
No, the little stash, the German little stash.
So you talk about the H regime?
Yeah.
Nobody, see, that's what I'm saying. You might have those groups or whatever in little groups or something, but I have not seen them destroying businesses and looting and burning and anything like this. Did you see that?
I'm not saying like they're doing that, but they're still there and there's still a presence. They're trying to influence people. That's all I'm trying to get. Yeah.
I don't think anybody influences the United States when it comes to the H regime because I'm a naturalized American citizen and I was born and raised in Germany. So I'm a little concerned on what I see is actually the left side is actually the ones that do what the H regime did in the 1920s, 1930s, including that administration. So if you look some history up and kind of like compare a little bit, when you go after a political opponent, if you go after a political opponent, that you're running, all those kind of little things that you read up and you kind of like get.
Well, I have to say this real quickly.
Yeah.
I believe that the far left has actually, or the ones that actually created the far right. Because
right, so they're just two at the same point.
Our cities down, and they looted stores, and they destroyed property. That's when people on the right stood up and they fought back.
You're probably right on that, because
So
they
they
were quiet.
created the far right.
Yeah, and the silent majority all of a sudden started talking, and all of a sudden we are not being demonized. That's what I'm talking about. I'm a constitutionalist, actually, and like I said, I will vote for President Trump. I did it in 16, I did it in 20, I will do it in 24. And I tell you what, I don't vote for him. I not vote for him because of party. Because I think this whole Democrat Republican, the only reason that I'm a registered Republican is so I can vote for him because he runs as a Republican. But I guarantee you, President Trump is not a Democrat, is not a Republican, he is just an American for the American people. And people need to learn to understand that part.
So Eve, Trump is a businessman. That's why the politicians tried to take him out because he couldn't be bought.
Right. That's what I say. Don't go by. Everybody says MAGA, Republican, and Democrat, and whatever. I don't. This country is not. The forefathers did not have political parties in the Constitution. This is something that this country can do it without a political party. The system is set up with representation from state. We don't need political parties.
But don't you think it's funny how our lovable, knowledgeable forefathers knew a day like this would come way back in the day, and it actually did? Isn't that funny?
Well,
Right.
it already came before with 1860.
Yeah.
That's why they said. That's why they didn't set up the Constitution to be political parties. The Constitution was set up. We the people. We the people is not a political party. It's every American citizen. So we all got into the point that we are like almost every other country, and now we're in trouble because we started doing the same thing that we were not supposed to do when the founding fathers, after 1776. We do what we're not supposed to do, and now we all finally wake up. And President Trump.
I think we're getting to a point in the U.S. where these two extremes are about to cause a civil war. I'm not even kidding. Like these people are pushing so hard that it's dividing us so much that I mean, like for example, with the border and everything, all the 27 governors came in into support, and it looked like a whole bunch of different states just coming together, like back in 1860.
Yep, there's 32 states total support in Texas right now.
Yeah. So